Craig, you know what time it is right now as we go all around, all four of those bags. It's time for the Daily Basis. So we start with the National League Cy Young race. Chris Sale yesterday, solid outing for Atlanta. Did not earn the win, but the Braves took the rubber match and the series from the Milwaukee Brewers 6-2. Chris Sale right now in his debut season in Atlanta, -110, a slight odds-on favorite in minus money to win the National League Cy Young Award. Paul Skenes, not all that far behind. Zach Wheeler, third best number at +270. Craig, how competitive is the race over these final 2 months of the regular season going to be for that NL Cy Young hardware?
Yeah, I think it's going to be right down to the wire with this one. As we talked about last week on the show, I was skeptical a month ago that Paul Skenes could potentially win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young, but he is very much in the mix. What it feels like is that after every pitching performance that one of these guys has, the odds change significantly. And I would say the one name on that list that we need to really pay closer attention to at this point, and even though he's probably fourth in the running, and I think it's appropriately that FanDuel has it, I'm not sure that the pricing is, and that's Dylan Cease. I mean, let's just call it what it is. The Padres are playing great baseball. They've upgraded their bullpen. Wins are going to come more frequently, I think, for him. So while I do think it is appropriate that the three names that you see there on your screen are ahead of him, I got to make this a four-player race at this point. I got Cease in the mix.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch it come down the stretch here, Craig, particularly to see how the, voters deem Paul Skenes. Because if he's phenomenal down the stretch, It's hard to deny him. But I wonder if there's going to be some detractors that'll say, well, I didn't pitch the full season, and a couple other guys did, so certainly something to watch. One of those guys that we usually see in the top 4, top 5 in the Cy Young, that's Clayton Kershaw. We had a streak come to an end yesterday, which I don't know how many people actually were paying attention to it, but when you see it, 423 regular season starts with at least one strikeout ended yesterday. 423 for Kershaw, Tom Seaver with 411, and Nolan Ryan with 382. That is absolutely incredible for that streak to last that long.
Yeah, and those other two guys, arguably two of the top 5 pitchers in the history of baseball, maybe even less than that. Kershaw is just not going to be who he was previously, and I think that he probably privately would acknowledge that. But that's not what the Dodgers are looking for. They're looking for throwing 5 innings, quality starts, and just basically starting one game in the postseason out of every 5 or every 7. So I think people just have to remember that Kershaw has been out for the majority of the season. I believe he's only made 2 starts or 3, whatever that one was. Certainly he could pick things up as the season goes on. But, Donnie, I just don't think you're going to see 7 innings, 12 strikeouts from Kershaw again, like we did pretty consistently for about a decade.
Year number 16 in Major League Baseball, all in Los Angeles, but how much juice is left in the tank? Might even be year 17. I've lost track at this point. What is 17, Craig? That's the amount of losses in a row for the Chicago White Sox. The franchise streak extends for Chicago. They dropped their 17th straight game yesterday at home to the Royals, losing big 10-3. Now, the longest ever Major League Baseball losing streak happened way back in 1889. The Louisville Colonels lost 26 consecutive games. The longest losing streak since the year 1900, that was the Phils in 1961, losing 23 consecutive games. The longest losing skids in MLB in this millennium since the year 2000. 2 teams have dropped 19 games in a row. The Royals in 2005, the Orioles back in 2021. Do the White Sox have a legitimate chance of making history in Major League Baseball? And that poor component maybe matching the longest losing skid of 19 straight that we have seen since 2000?
It's possible. It's possible. I remember when I think it was the 88 Orioles, Ben, opened up with, I don't know how many losses in a row to begin the season. To me, that's the one that sticks 21. Out the most. Yeah, so that season, imagine opening up a Major League Baseball season with your fans and losing the first 21 games of the year. That's just unheard of. Look, White Sox fans at this point, they kind of know what they're up against. They know the team's going to be bad for a long time. They certainly could keep losing. But the one thing that I see a lot, Ben, that I want to clarify here on social media and for everyone else, for people who say that the White Sox are tanking to get the number 1 overall pick in the draft, folks, they are not eligible to get the number 1 pick because under the new CBA rules, that market, the Chicago market, is not eligible. I know it sounds crazy, but they're not losing on purpose. At the end of the season, if they have the worst record in baseball, the best they can draft, I believe, is 12th or 13th. So that is just not true. So stop with that. The first pick is going to go to Colorado or Miami or one of those teams at the bottom there. Those teams are eligible. So if the White Sox keep losing, Ben, it is not because they're trying to. It's just because they stink. There's going to be massive changes going on there in the offseason. Pedro Grifol, a good guy without a doubt. He is in all likelihood not going to be. You can't lose this much and be the manager of a Major League Baseball team next season. So get ready for that coming in September. I don't even know that he'll make it through the year.
Home runs. Jackson Holliday yesterday hit his first, and which one? A grand slam. And also, that thing almost hit the warehouse at Camden Yards yesterday. Let me ask you this question, Craig. Holliday, obviously the number one pick in 2022. Does he have a chance to make the postseason roster for the Orioles this season?
Yes, and especially considering Jordan Westburg got hurt yesterday, and he's going to be out for an extended period of time. I think there's a chance. Holliday almost hit a second home run, by the way, in that game. I'm so happy to see him performing well. You hate to see a 20-year-old kid thrust into the spotlight and struggle like he did initially, but now he's back. He'll be great. And guys, we'll be talking about his brother Ethan Holliday very soon. Equivalent as far as talent. I mean, Matt Holliday.
Wow.
What do they got going on in Oklahoma? I don't know with Matt Holliday, but great stuff there.
Good genes. Good genes for the Holliday family. There's no doubt about it. Craig Mish, we appreciate the time. We'll tune into Newswire starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time. See you tomorrow? No, I guess we'll probably see you next week. We'll go around the Olympic primer.
Under 30.
Craig.
Under 30 and a half.